And welcome back to Idaho Today. It's time for our artist spotlight. He's already got me laughing. Okay, so Curtis Stigers is obviously one of the most celebrated musicians in Idaho, first garnering international following with his hit song, I Wonder Why. We all know it. And you just returned also from a tour in Europe. You've had a decades-long career. I mean, everyone, we are so excited to have Curtis Stigers here in studio with us this afternoon. So thank you so much for being here, Curtis. Okay,
nice
so you just got back, though, from a tour in Europe. How'd that go?
It was great. It was so nice to have a job again after being in my kitchen for a year and a half, you know.
Because you were doing those little performances from your kitchen.
And I still am doing songs from my kitchen. Every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Idaho time, my dogs and I put on a show in my kitchen, and I sing some songs and tell some stories, and the dogs bark at the mailman, and it's a nice hour. But and I still do that when I'm home, but during that month-long tour of the UK and a little jaunt over to Germany, I took a hiatus from it and just talked about it on stage. But it was a lovely tour. It was really nice to get out. I was in Scotland and Wales and England, and then I went to Stuttgart for a big TV show at the Porsche Arena in front of about 7,000 people. It was
fancy
really cool.
pants, Curtis Stigers.
Yeah,
very nice.
fancy.
Yes. Okay, so you were in Germany for that TV show, but then you went back and then toured some more in England.
Yeah, I was on the road for 28, 29 days, a full month tour, which is longer than I'm usually out. It was. I kept saying to my band, I'm getting old, getting a little old for this. You know, I haven't been on that long of a tour in many years, in decades. Usually I'll go out for a couple of weeks. I always had a rule when my daughter was young that I would only be away from her for 2 weeks at a time at most. Now she's off at college, so she doesn't care when I tour. And when they started booking this tour, I hadn't been working at all, and I just said, take all the gigs. I don't care. Just put me out there. I need to work. And but near the end of that 4 weeks, I thought, well, maybe next time more of a 2 or 3 week tour would be enough.
Yeah, because you're a little exhausted.
It wore me out. And I do, you know, I tour kind of down and dirty, you know, with just the band and me. And we had a sound engineer this time who was supposed to be the driver, but I found out early on he didn't really like driving. So I ended up I ended up doing a lot of the driving on the wrong side of the road, which was. It's fun. It's contemplative. I got
keeps you on your toes, right?
Yeah. It makes me sharp as an old guy.
Yeah, and you like Europe, or in England in particular, right? Like you've got some friends over there.
I love it. I love going over. I have friends in England. I've got friends in Scotland, friends in Ireland, and in Europe. I mean, I've been touring over there since the early '90s, and most of my work is in either the UK, Germany, or Scandinavia, and I'm headed back to England and Scotland in June to open for Barry Manilow.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right, so that was kind of like your warm-up, if you will. And then you're going to go back at it again. But now perhaps maybe schedule a couple of naps in there and find a driver that does like to drive.
It should be a little easier opening for Barry. The gigs are spread out and they're booked.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm really looking forward to it. And it helps to sell my new record, you know. You know, to be in front of as many people as he plays in front of.
Yeah, and last time we chatted, it was via Zoom, so we're so happy to have you in studio today.
Nice to be in person.
But tell us again about that album for those who missed that conversation.
Sure.
It's an overview. Your album is called This Life, right? Yeah. And it's kind of a celebration of the many hits and the work that you've had over the decades, right?
Well, it's a look back at 30 years in the record business. My first album came out 30 years ago, and that was the album that, you know, that set off my career. The first song, the first single, I Wonder Why, was a top 10 hit all over the world, and so it created a career for me. And so I haven't looked back since then. I've just kind of plowed forward and confounded publicists and changed my styles over the years because that's what I like to do. I don't like to do the same thing twice. But this time around, because it was 30 years and because these songs sound really different now. I mean, when I play with my band, we're a jazz quintet now. Yeah. We're not a pop soul band anymore. So the songs sound very different, and I wanted to show that on this new record. So This Life is a look back at some of those old songs. Also, What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding is on it. That's the song I covered for the Bodyguard soundtrack, which was Whitney Houston and the Kevin Costner movie, Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner, and it sold 45 million copies, that album. So people know me for that.
Just a little success.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it had nothing to do with me by any means. Whitney Houston had 5 smash singles on that, but it was a great ride to take with her. And then also, speaking of riding, I wrote or co-wrote and sang the theme song to the Sons of Anarchy
Yes.
TV show, which that song is also on the record in a more sort of jazz blues, more of a subtle way than we recorded for the TV
And really
show.
quick too, on that album, there's also what I like to call some Easter eggs for your big fans, right? So some songs that you perform possibly during some live performances,
Sure.
you recut them and put them on the album, right?
Yeah, there are two songs that I hadn't recorded before. One is a Leonard Cohen song called "Tonight Will Be Fine," and it's just a song that the band and I have been playing on stage for 7 or 8 years now, but I haven't really made a record that it worked for, and it just seemed like the record to do it. And then we recorded "Summertime," which is the George Gershwin, DuBose Hayward song that, it's an old standard, everybody knows. Summertime and the living is easy.
Yes.
But we recorded an arrangement that I helped to create for a band of mine in Boise back in the mid '80s. That we were called the Young Jazz Lions. We were young jazz musicians, and we were a little cocky, so we called ourselves the Young Jazz
Lions.
And we were very influenced by Gene Harris, the great Gene
Yes.
Harris, who had retired here, and he was kind of our mentor. Anyway, Paul Tillotson, the pianist of that group, he brought in this cool sort of reggae version of "Summertime," and we turned it into a whole arrangement. And I've been playing that off and on the road for years. Paul passed away a few years ago. We lost him way too young to cancer, and so I wanted to pay tribute to him, and also to just look back even farther or further than those 30 years, to look back into the 80s when I was still here, a cocky jazz musician here in Boise, Idaho, playing the clubs.
Well, I know we all look very forward to that album. I've actually already downloaded it on Apple, by the way.
Thank you
just to
very
let
much.
know. Yes.
Thank you.
And we're going to get a taste, too, of a performance from Curtis coming up right after the break. He'll be playing a song for us right here in studio, so stick around.